Hey guys, what's up? I'm coming on here to do a review of the book The Cousins by McManus, and we're gonna jump into it. I have a whole lot of footage from when I was reading. I tried to come on and like talk as I was going through each chapter, or you know, as many chapters as I could. We're gonna start the video off like I normally do with non-spoilers, and then we'll start to jump into the spoilers, and we'll get into all the juicy stuff. I'll make sure that I have like a little spoiler alert somewhere down here so that you know when we're at that point. The way that I do things is I go through the chapters and I try to comment right after every chapter. It's usually my feelings, however my feels are at the moment, and that's kind of what we go through. Hey guys, what's up? We're gonna start reading The Cousins by McManus, I think. Yep, McManus, that's her name. So we're gonna try something completely new with the way that I do the reviewing of the book, and we'll kind of see how that flows. I do want to show you, I'm reading it on an e-reader, and this is what we've got going on. So we're gonna read The Cousins by McManus, and it says she's got 4 other books, and it starts out, as you can see, there's quite a bit of chapters here. We've got the chapters, and it looks like they follow Millie, Aubrey, Jonah throughout the book. So we'll follow that. I assume that those are the cousins. Let's see, we've got the story family tree, and I don't see any of their names on here. So I guess we'll see how all of this plays in. Let's get started. We have the main characters. You've got Millie, Aubrey, and Jonah. Those are the 3 cousins. You also have Allison, who is the mother. She's like one of the I guess more talked about characters. Although there's several. And then you've got Uncle Adams, Uncle Anders, and Uncle Archer. I'm really bad with names, so I'm looking at my notes. Don't hate me. The cousins are all invited to their grandmother's island for the summer so that they can work, get to know her. They've never met her. They've never been part of her life. She's never wanted them to be in her life. And then all of a sudden the kids all get letters from her saying, come to Gull Cove Resort. You guys can work. You know, we'll get together. Blah, blah, blah. Kids aren't too happy about it. They don't really want to waste their summer vacation spending time with cousins they barely know or remember, and a grandmother that has never acknowledged them up until this point. So they all do end up going to Gull Cove Resort, even though they kind of like fight with their parents about it and they don't really want to go, but ultimately in the end they all end up there. We go through their time at the resort and them kind of pulling everything together to figure out why their parents were dismissed from the family and never allowed to come back around the grandmother. So that's really where everything kind of comes in at. I enjoyed the book. I gave it, I think it was a 3-star read. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was pretty good. I definitely would recommend it. It's a YA novel, so there's that. And right now we're just gonna go ahead and go into some of the quotes that I thought were pretty cool. And these are not spoilers, so there was a quote in chapter 1 from Millie that said, high school boys are immature, which is true, but sometimes I think we might be better off not knowing how much worse they can get. I really liked that quote. There's another one in chapter 3 from Millie. Millie was like my favorite character. It says, everybody has secrets, she says, taking a sip of her drink. That's non-debatable. The only question is whether you're keeping your own or someone else's. I really liked that. Jonah, chapter 12, I liked his quote. It says, he's a person, you can't put a $sign on him and be done with it. I liked that. And also Jonah had a quote in chapter 18. All you can do is dig yourself out and move on. My parents didn't want to hear that for a long time, and neither did I. It felt good to be angry, but it didn't help and it didn't change anything. So I thought those were really good. Okay, so let's go into my chapters. We're going to start with chapter 1, and we're just going to kind of run down. This is where we're getting into the spoilers, so if you don't want to hear this, you might want to leave at this point. Alright, chapter 1. It looks like Millie can be bought. Millie is the main one who was introduced, also her mom, who is Allison, and I'm really bad with names, so this is going to be fun. We just kind of got the whole gist of Grandma coming into the picture, and it looks like Millie can be bought. I think that they're trying to make Millie out to be like a spoiled brat, but I'm not feeling that kind of vibe from her. I'm kind of liking the flow of her character so far, but we're only one chapter in. Chapter 2. Aubrey is bringing up some things, and I need to read more to get a better understanding. I'm liking this book so far. Okay, so I'm on chapter 2 right now, and I have two concerns. So one, Aubrey makes a comment about her dad. The thought of her dad makes her stomach churn, which kind of makes me feel like there's something off there. This also says something about her dad not being like the rest of the family. So is he not like really part of the family? So I'm wondering what kind of secrets are going on there, because it seems odd that the thought of her dad kind of turns her stomach, and then also that he's not treated like the rest of the family, or he's not like the rest of the family. So just my thoughts. Chapter 2. Let's keep going. Aubrey has a boyfriend, but it doesn't seem like things are going too well between them, because he didn't give her a kiss. He didn't want to come in to see her before she was going to take off for the summer. It's kind of weird. Odd vibes there, so I guess we'll see how that plays out later. So now we're moving on to chapter 3, which is going to be from Jonah's point of view. Chapter 3. The three cousins finally meet, and they're checking each other out. It's like animals not knowing who to trust and who to attack. Okay guys, so I am on chapter 3. Well, I just finished chapter 3. We're kind of following Jonah throughout this chapter. They all get on a ferry to head over to the island and to meet their grandmother. They're not sure if she's going to be there when they arrive, but they all did make the same ferry. They got to meet each other really for the first time in a very long time. Well, first time. It wouldn't be the first time, would it? But they, you know, got to see each other at their ages that they are now, and they started talking. I'm getting ready to move over to chapter 4, and we're going to be following Millie again. Chapter 4. Well, I guess Edward set them all up and left before it would blow up in his face. Okay, so the old man just recognized Millie and called her Allison, and he's really confused. He's thinking that it's Allison, because apparently they look very similar. However, I just wanted to come on here and say that part like gave me chills, because he's basically like, you're not welcome here, and Mildred is going to be so pissed if she sees you. So I just got a little bit of chills. Okay, so I just finished chapter 4, and Edward basically set them all up and then just left before the shit hits the fan, and that's where we are. Now I'm on to chapter 4, part 2, where we're going into Allison's, I guess, viewpoint. I guess we're gonna go back a little ways, so let's see what's happening. Chapter 4, part 2, family first, always. Chapter 5, the lawyer is a sneaky SOB. You can't trust him. Chapter 6, so we have a cousin who is not a cousin. I wonder if it's an adoption. Okay, so I just read chapter 6, and apparently Jonah is not a cousin, but I think he is, but I'm wondering if he was adopted or something. So I gotta keep reading to see where we go with this, but that's where we're at. So on to chapter 7. Chapter 7, Millie just wants to get to the real story so she can figure out why her mother is the way she is. Okay, so I was totally wrong about Jonah. So apparently it's really not her cousin. He was paid off to impersonate the cousin, so the cousin could go to the science camp. So he got paid. I don't know how much, he won't admit, but that's okay. So that's where we're at. It's kind of funny. I'm kind of digging it. Right now I am on chapter 7, and it's coming from Millie's point of view with her questioning him. So that's where we're at. I'm kind of digging this book. Alright, so I just finished the Millie chapter, and really it's coming down to So the grandmother has agreed to meet with, I guess, all the kids. Millie was invited to be with her grandmother for a couple different dates for different occasions. She's going to get a dress and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be tailored for her. And what else was I going to say? Oh, Millie just really kind of wants to figure out what happened so she can understand her mom better and kind of like why her mom is the way that she is. So that's where we're at. On to the next chapter. Chapter 8. Aubrey let her dad have it, and for good reason. What an asshole. Oh, things are getting spicy right now. So Aubrey is talking with her dad, and she just basically said, oh, proactive? Like proactive when you fucked my swim coach and got her pregnant? Oh, talk about some family secrets and drama. Drama there. So that explains a whole lot of the hatred that was going on with Aubrey and her dad at the beginning. So some of my thoughts early on was kind of like, well, was she sexually molested or something like that? But now I have a whole new picture of what's going on. So it's kind of interesting. Alright, I'm going to keep reading. Chapter 8, Part 2. I guess this is where the original family drama started. Chapter 9. So, I know they are just rumors, but that's what I've been thinking. I have to be right. Okay, don't mind my wet hair. I just got out of the shower. But I'm reading, and they're talking about the rumors that go around about the Story family. And one of the rumors is that Allison got knocked up by one of her brothers. And I've been thinking that. So, I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out. It's just a rumor. I don't know if it's true, but it's very interesting. So, boom, I just wanted to share that because I'm like, what? If I knew that, I'm amazing. And one other thing, one of the other rumors is that Anders was actually a love child and isn't really like his mom's son, biological son. So that's interesting, especially because it's in one of the thoughts that I had from chapter 2. So, I'm so smart. I'm so smart. Chapter 10. I didn't question where the other brother is, but I guess we know now. Okay, so right now we are at the point where it looks like Chaz is the one who brought them there. So it's a little bit different from what I was thinking, but Chaz is also one of the Story kids. So that's a twist. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I was kind of wondering where that boy was, like where the son slash brother was slash uncle, because he's all of the three. So yeah, interesting. Okay, so that's where we're at in this chapter. Let's go on to the next one. Chapter 11. Okay, so Dr. Fred Baxter is hiding secrets too. Chapter 11, Part 2. Well, well, well. Shoplifting and a pregnancy test. Very interesting. Well, well, well. Allison, pregnant, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. We're just gonna say that she was shoplifting a pregnancy test. Alrighty, let's move on, shall we? Chapter 12. The timing of Dr. Baxter's death is convenient. Okay, so Dr. Baxter just was found dead in the creek. He drowned in the creek behind his home, which is awful strange, especially because he was getting ready to spill the beans on some family secrets, and now he's gone. So I gotta move on to the next chapter to see what's happening because it's getting exciting. Chapter 13. I don't trust Teresa or the lawyer. They are both up to no good, and why is Mildred being such an ass to Millie? I feel bad for her. Okay, I just finished reading chapter 13, and Teresa, who is Mildred's assistant, is being sneaky with Donald Camden, who is her lawyer, who's Mildred's lawyer. So it seems to me, the way that I'm thinking about it, is that they had something to do with the doctor's death trying to get rid of him being a problem and speaking out. So that's my thoughts at this moment. We're gonna move on to chapter 14 and see what comes up next. And this one is told by Aubrey. Chapter 14. I love that Aubrey is starting to find her voice and her independence. It was so cool to watch Aubrey like kind of like grow up and flower. So, okay. Okay, so all three cousins are at the library right now and they're doing research on the family. But what I thought was funny, and I'm going to share my age here, but they're talking about microfilm, and I mean, I totally remember using that when I was in high school to research for papers that I had to do. So I just thought that was funny. I don't know if any of you guys know what a microfilm is or if you've ever used it, but if you have in school, because that was like the normal thing to do back in the day, let me know, because we didn't exactly have computers and Google back then. Chapter 15. Emotions for Millie are pretty strong. She is pained by what happened with her grandmother. Okay, I just finished chapter 15. Millie got busted kissing her cousin by everybody at the gala, including her grandmother. Whoops. Chapter 15, part 2. So Allison is pregnant. Millie will not be happy about this at all. Chapter 16. Millie kissed her cousin and got busted by everyone. Chapter 17. This family is so effed up. Chapter 18. Archer and Jonah come together to fight evil. Let's see what happens. They all talk shit about Archer, but he's a good dude. Okay, so Archer is back, and it looks like things are going to get interesting. Now, they did kick Jonah off, the cousin, the fake cousin, after the real cousin and his father showed up at the gala, which was like a whole, like, a drama fest. I mean, it was crazy. So, to me, it seems like... Chapter 19. So many selfish reasons to do what is next. Jonah's father is trying to make things out like crazy to where all the other kids are disinherited. He can weasel his way back in, get the inheritance. I don't know what's going on, but that's kind of like where we're at and what's happening at this moment. I'm getting ready to move into chapter 19, which is going to be from Millie's perspective, and we'll see what happens there. Chapter 19, part 2. Anders and Adam are talking trash, but I don't think they will ever go through with anything. Chapter 20. It seems that Aubrey went from little girl to woman, and it looks good on her. Chapter 21. Wow. So Matt and Kayla? Yeah. Things like that don't just happen, if you know what I mean. Chapter 22. Cute. Falling in love and stuff. Chapter 23. Okay, this is feeling rushed, and all of a sudden Aubrey is going to be the one to figure it all out and save the day, question mark. Chapter 24. Okay, this is crazy, but it's starting to make sense. Alright, so I'm on chapter 24, and this stuff is getting like really weird and crazy right now. I'm confused. So the birthmark is the telling thing that goes into this whole weird grand conspiracy. I mean, I had a feeling that Teresa and the doctor were not, the doctor and the lawyer were not all on the up and up of what was happening, but now it's just like really super weird. So like grandma's like dead, I guess, which I think is exactly where they're going to end this. So, but I mean, that would make sense with everything that's been going on, but weird. But I don't understand why nobody was talking to Millie. Like, why was the grandmother not talking to Millie when they were having brunch? That I'm still confused about. So let's see if we can get some answers on that. Chapter 24, part 2. I don't think the boys killed anyone, but I don't put anything past Anders. Chapter 25. This is something out of a soap opera. Chapter 26. back to square one, and they have nothing. Nothing has changed except the emotional closure. So that is my thoughts on all the chapters after each chapter. And then I had random thoughts when I was reading, so I'm going to go over those with you as well. So in chapter 2, it says, the thought of my father makes my stomach tighten. And she was talking, it was about Aubrey's dad. And I'm like, is Aubrey's dad a molester? Like, I didn't know where this was going. Also in chapter 2, it says, Uncle Anders, Jonah's father, is the only one who didn't inherit the family good looks. In old pictures, he's short, scrawny, and sharp-featured, with eyebrows like slashes and a perpetual thin-lipped smirk. And I was questioning if he was really part of the family. Chapter 11, I said, okay, let me guess. Allison sleeps with her half-brother. It's kind of what I was thinking was happening. Also, one of my other random thoughts was Archer, Adams, and Anders. That was the most annoying setup of names ever. Like, I'm like, seriously, can like we not... It was really annoying to have those names. They were just too easy to mix up. It was annoying. Also, I had a question, and I tried to go back and I couldn't find it, but I could swear that when they were on the boat or when they were leaving to like finally get to the island, I thought that all the cousins kind of like put their hand out and they were all like kind of showing off their birthmark. But if that was the case, where was Jonah's birthmark? So that's kind of like one of the things that I caught. And I could have went back. I was like, I don't feel like going back. But I could have swore that was like part of a thing. So do y'all remember that? I don't know. And then also, I questioned the Teresa football connection. Because I'm like, wait a second. I thought Teresa liked football. And then she's like, I don't like football. And I was really confused about where that was going. But ultimately, once you got to the end, you realized exactly where that was going. So there was that. Those were my thoughts of the book. I thought it was a pretty good read. It was entertaining and kind of kept me, and you know, it kept my interest, so that's good. Alright, so that is the review. I am going to end this here. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!